Prime Minister Keir Starmer has pledged to end what he describes as a golden ticket for asylum seekers, saying that refugees must earn their right to bring family to Britain and that he will scrap automatic settlement, hoping it will reduce the pull factors on those coming to the UK.
It comes as the Prime Minister joins other European leaders in Copenhagen today, discussing the issue.
The Migration and Immigration Minister, Mike Tapp, joins us now from Westminster. Good to see you back again with us, Mr Tapp. When we spoke last time, you had just kind of come in as a Home Office Minister. The Prime Minister's announcement today and the language he's using, the suspension of family resettlement of people claiming asylum and bringing their family over actually happened at the beginning of September. So that's already been in place for a month. Is this a new policy that's being announced today, or is it an upping of the rhetoric? Because saying that the previous regime was a golden ticket, I think that's different language. Are you changing the policy today, or are you upping the political language?
So, hi Ed, hi Suzanne. Specifically on that point of policy around bringing families over, we're saying that that will not be automatic for those that come over and are granted refugee status. We're also looking at right to settlement, and we're saying that if you're here as a refugee, that doesn't automatically grant you settlement. And what we mean by that is, look, the world changes, wars end, governments change, and it might be that when you came and were granted asylum, that was the case and it was dangerous, but that can change. You might be valid to go back. So we're saying that it's a privilege, not a right, to settle here, and that must be earned. Now, the whole idea of this is actually not to be up the rhetoric, Ed, it's to bring us in line with the rest of Europe, because what we were seeing previously is asylum shopping. So that draw factor, as we were seen as more of a soft touch, was significant. And that's why, or part of the reason why there's so many looking to cross the channel to get into the country. So by taking us on a level playing field with the rest of Europe, it takes away some of the pull factor. And of course, we're working hard on a number of other policies. We're deporting high numbers, that's up to 35,000, picking that up from the previous Home Secretary. We're working on the ECHR to ensure that's fairer. There's fantastic returns agreements already in place, including the groundbreaking deal with the French, which is a pilot, and that's going to grow, and you'll see more this weekend. We're working to move people out of hotels into
Minister,
MOD
I think
accommodation.
The point that we're just trying to get at and trying to sort of work out is there a danger you're being drawn into tougher rules on migration, or even tougher rhetoric on migration, because, as the Prime Minister himself acknowledged, this is now a clear fight between Labour and Reform. I mean, calling this a golden ticket when refugee agencies say this is, you know, a safe route, it seems a very different use of language. And we spoke to a guest this morning who says, you know, this sort of language and the toughening up of our view of asylum seekers, people coming from war-torn countries, actually has a backlash on the wider community.
No, we said in our manifesto before the general election that we're going to secure the borders and that we're going to make an immigration system that's fair and that works. We inherited open borders and a broken system. And all we're doing here, all we're doing today in this announcement, is it brings us in line with the rest of Europe. And look, what we're not saying is that the rhetoric from the rest of Europe is divisive and poisonous. All we're doing is ensuring that we have a fair system and we're taking away one of those pull factors. Look, we're British. British values are around decency and fairness, but also strength and firmness. And that doesn't mean that we have to carry the burden for the rest of Europe. So we'll do our part, but it's got to be fair.
But there will be people who will look at this. They'll think, well, Nigel Farage, when he hears the phrase golden ticket, will say, at last, I've been telling that all along. And there'll be lots of people who want more control on immigration who will think using golden ticket language, I mean, that is really trying to shift Keir Starmer and the government over onto that, you know, much more sort of blatantly, politically anti-asylum, anti-refugee rhetoric. What do you say to people who worry that this language is going to be divisive and inflammatory?
I say don't worry, because we're decent and those that need help will receive it. But we're just saying that we need to reduce the pull factors, because that was resulting in, and is resulting in, thousands crossing the channel. Children are dying. We don't want that to happen. So by reducing the pull factors, we're saving lives, and it's really important that we do this. We can't let it remain as it is, because we've inherited open borders and a system that doesn't work and isn't fair. And this just brings us in line with the rest of Europe.
Two weeks ago, I think it was, the pull factor was the ability to work legally, and therefore the suggestion was that you'd bring in ID cards. The Prime Minister didn't mention ID cards, digital ID cards, once in his speech. Is that still a pull factor, and are you still introducing digital ID?
Yeah, there's many, many pull factors. One of them is illegal employment. I was on a job last week where we arrested 2 illegal migrants. I spoke to one of them and he told me that he was here to work illegally. So it's important that we do get on top of that.
Well, certainly digital illegal IDs, working, I'm sure, is a pull factor, but digital IDs as a solution, is that still a proposal?
Absolutely. Digital IDs is certainly a part of the solution there, because
so you're not ditching digital IDs?
No, we're not. It's a really important part of the solution to cracking down on illegal employment, but also making our lives better and easier. Estonia do it, Australia do it, Denmark do it. We're falling behind. We need to modernise. And
Minister,
I do understand...
But Minister, sorry, the Times reports today, they have a new podcast, Cabinet Backlash Against Digital ID to Stop Boats. The Times quotes a minister saying, "It's not clear to me this will do anything to stop people crossing the channel anyway, given that migrants are already working illegally in the black economy." Just to repeat Susanna's question, if the Prime Minister thought that ID cards was going to help stop illegal working and stop the boats, surely he would have at least mentioned it in an hour-long speech. He didn't mention it at all. Is that because the Cabinet backlash is already underway?
I've not heard of this Cabinet backlash apart from the article that you've just read. And my understanding is that the party is well and truly behind this, not just because it will help deal with illegal employment. It's not the one answer, of course, but it's a part of it. But it also make our citizens' lives easier. Now, I understand some of the concerns people talk about, data, etc. But we've got to understand that our data is held across many government data sets, from the DVLA to the Passport Office, HMRC, DWP, and it's bringing it into one place so that when you're opening that bank account or getting that mortgage or looking to rent, you don't have to scrabble around for that.
I understand that
council
point,
tax bill. This will make our lives easier.
I understand that point. And the Home Secretary said 2 days ago it would help tackle benefit fraud. Fine. But just explain this to us. I'm an employer who illegally is paying in cash money to asylum seekers to do work which is like, in the black economy. Just explain to us how, in any way, does a digital ID card help stop that?
So what this does, it will be mandatory for every worker. And all employers will need to conduct those checks.
It's the black economy, Minister. It's the black economy. This is illegal
you need to let me finish
cash working.
What I'm saying. So what this will produce is a gap in data. So if an employer isn't conducting those checks, we'll know about it. We'll have a flag. We can then carry out those inspections, and we can increase or decrease the illegal employment. We've already ramped that up by 50%, but this will make it easier. It's better, more targetable intelligence, essentially.
How do you know about it? If this is a black economy employer, he's not paying tax and national insurance, he's paying the cash economy to somebody who is illegally working because they're an asylum seeker. I don't understand how any data or check makes any sense in this case, because it's illegal working. So a lot of illegal working is under registered employers. And it means that when we see that the employers aren't conducting those checks, it's a gap in the data almost, then we're more likely to carry out that inspection. So it's better intelligence and it's more targetable, so that, we've increased these raids and arrests by up to 50% already in 12 months. It's going to go further and it'll be more targeted. That's where this helps. So it's a part of the solution. And look, many other nations are doing this, and we need to modernise, and we've fallen behind on that.
I want to ask you about a very moving interview we did earlier with Tina Malone, whose husband was an army veteran and died by suicide. Last year, the coroner said that there was a risk of future deaths because not enough is being done to support our armed forces veterans. She feels that she didn't get enough support, didn't receive anything from the MOD, not even a card to acknowledge his death. Why are we failing our veterans?
Yeah, I watched the report earlier from Tina, and Paul's death is an absolute tragedy. I'm a veteran myself. Al Carnes, who was the Veterans Minister, is a veteran. The new Veterans Minister is Louise Jones, and she understands those needs, and that if there are failings there, then of course that needs to improve. And we're introducing Op Valor, we're calling it, which will invest £50 million in a new network so that we can improve that support for veterans. These are the nation's finest people, and we must always protect them. And it's a really touching story, and I've absolutely no doubt that the MOD and Louise Jones and this government take it very seriously.
Yeah, I mean, I would suggest that contact from the MOD might be a good idea.
Well, to be honest, I think it's brilliant you watched the interview. Maybe as a veteran yourself, Mr. Tapp, maybe you and the Veterans Minister could have a meeting with Tina and listen to what her concerns are. That would mean that she would feel that something good is coming from Paul's death, and you could use your experience and your good officers to put a bit of pressure on the MOD.
Yeah, I know that Tina's had contact with Al, and I've no doubt that that will come from Louise too. And I'm absolutely more than happy to meet. Of course, I'm a Home Office minister, so I won't be able to impact the policy directly there, but it means a lot to me, so I'm absolutely happy to do that, Ed.
We appreciate your time. Thanks very much indeed.